So this is question number 12, part A, and it wants us to solve an inequality. So what we're first going to do is bring everything to one side set it equal to 0. So that gives me x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 6x plus 7 plus 5. And that is all less than or equal to 0. So now I'm going to group them together with like terms. Minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 6x gives me minus 4x, and then plus 12. That is less than or equal to 0. So now what I'm going to do is group these sections together. And so here I can take out an x squared, and that leaves me with x minus 3. And here I can take out a negative 4, and that leaves me with x minus 3. And so now I have x minus 2 minus 4, or x squared minus 4 times x minus 3 is less than or equal to 0. So this can be factored into, well, we can set it equal to 0, and we get x is equal to plus or minus 2, and then x is equal to 3. And so again, so we're going to try this on a number line. So we've got negative 2, positive 2, and 3. And so we're going to test those values. And again, we can rewrite, like I said, this x squared minus 4 as x plus 2, x minus 2, x minus 3. And so using that, we'll be able to determine with multiplicity really quickly our interval. So I'm just going to test 0 because that's easiest. So I get a positive times a negative, which is a negative times a negative, which is a positive. So I'm not going to include 0 because I only want values that are less than 0. And because I know that it'll be alternating on every number, we will want this section, we will want this section, we will want this section. So our interval then is from negative infinity all the way up to negative 2, bracket, and we're going to use brackets because it can equal 0 and we don't have anything on a denominator. So it's not anything, nothing's making this function undefined, and we can equal 0, so we're going to use a bracket. So union with bracket 2 to the positive 3 bracket. So that's your interval for part A. And then we have another similar one for part B. In part B, we have x cubed minus x squared has to be greater than or equal to 0. So I'm just going to factor out an x squared using x minus 1. So on my number line, I know my values are 0 and 1. And I also know that my values on the sides of 0 are going to be the same, my signs, and they're going to alternate at 1. So when I plug in, I'm going to test negative 1. I get a positive times negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2, so positive times negative, which is a negative. And then I know on the side, on 0, they're going to stay both negative, and then they're going to switch on the other side of 1. So, where I'm looking for the values where it's positive or greater than or equal to 0, I certainly know that from 1 to positive infinity are included. But we can't forget that at 0, we are equaling 0. So what we have to say is the set of 0 and union with the interval from 1 to positive infinity. So that is how you would write that. That's how you include 0 in your interval while it being its own separate thing, because it's not, it doesn't have an interval set which it's falling into. It really is just its own number. So that is 12b.